Hello one and all, this is Soulful Lordy, James Bullock, once again with another video game first impressions. This time around, Death Stranding for the PS4 and PC. The first game by Hideo Kojima, the legendary game developer, after his split from Konami and essentially the Metal Gear series, has provided us a job at Amazon when the world comes to an end. You play as Sam Porter Bridges, of course played by Norman Reedus, as he is given the task of trying to rebuild America. Now this might sound absurd, but this is a Hideo Kojima game and a Hideo Kojima story, so of course it would sound absurd. Now, the main task of the player is to really manage your inventory, decide what you can take, what you can carry, be it equipment, be it more packages, and essentially go from one spot to another delivering these packages. Now, it's not that simple. Not only do you have to encounter various terrains, but also opposition that can range from physical, in this case the mules, who are these raiders who will attack you if they spot you and take your packages so they can deliver them and make their own money. Or the BTs, which are these floating invisible creatures that can only be seen by one thing, and that is your BB, which is the little baby that you've seen in the promos building up to this game's release, that is needed when you are going through the world and the timefall happens. That's when the game starts raining, it deteriorates the containers that hold your packages, and most importantly, it brings forth the arrival of the BTs. Without the baby, you cannot see the BTs. You have to scan the area, and if you are near the BTs, you have to hold your breath, and if you can't, you just have to run. You have to run and tap the square button or whatever button you're hitting to get away as quickly as possible to avoid losing not only your packages, but also losing your life and starting over from whenever you saved at the last point. The most stressful moments I've had thus far is confronting the BTs, because it does break the monotony of just simply trying to climb. One of the most ingenious things that I do greatly appreciate about this game is the fact that you are connected to a server as long as you're connected to the internet. And with this connection to the server, you're allowed to be helped by other players, invisible players mind you, who have set things down like ladders, like ropes, like bridges, that allow for easier traversal across the world. There are some issues with the game. As expected, there is some stiffness and rigidness to the overall movement. It is a little too sensitive at times when you're trying to walk and Sam just starts losing his balance, so you have to try to counterbalance, and before you know it, you've fallen and dropped packages. And the overall combat and the movement, especially when it comes to interacting with the BTs, feels a little too stiff. It just doesn't feel fluid. I think the biggest issue really comes down to the gameplay in general. This is an exorbitant fetch quest, where you just go from point A to point B trying to deliver packages. Now, of course, as you progress through the game, you get more vehicles, you get weapons, and things that make the gameplay more exciting. But a lot of times, those actions and interactions are few and far between. You're just trying to overcome the elements of nature and overcome the world itself by trying to climb, trying to build, and trying to overcome in an effort to get from point A to point B. Depending on who you are as a player, this may sound incredibly boring. The thing that has really been the driving force for me to continue playing the game is the story, because I am excited to see how it pans out. Kojima stories are always very unique, very different, and allow for conversations to happen because of the way they're told. I'm excited to see how this plays out. But from a gameplay perspective, thus far I haven't really seen that much that will say, man, this is a Game of the Year contender, because it doesn't have that much to offer when it comes to gameplay thus far. It really is a grandiose fetch quest. Overall, if that's what you're into, if you are fine with just trying to go from point A to point B, and really the challenge is trying to overcome, potentially, these mountainous areas, these areas that you shouldn't cross, or really any human should cross, when you're loaded down with a great amount of packages. trying to avoid being detected by these supernatural forces, and simply just peeing. Just peeing in the woods, in the shower. It doesn't matter, just being able to relieve yourself. If that is what you're into, then Death Stranding is the perfect game for you. But if you come into this feeling like, I want another Metal Gear Solid, this is not going to happen. You're not going to be satisfied. And those who really want more action and adventure in their action adventure games, they may not get that either. This is going to be one of those games that's going to divide audiences for a long time. And right now, I even feel conflicted because I do enjoy what I've played thus far, but it doesn't feel like it's anything that would make me say, you know what, you need to go buy this right now. If you can, give it a rental. It's hard for me to say that you should go out and buy it unless you're just a die-hard Kojima fan, because it may not be the game for you at all. So there you have it. This has been Soulful Lordy, James Bullock, once again with another video game first impressions. Death Stranding for the PS4 and PC. Now, if you don't mind, I've loaded poor Sam down to the brink of exhaustion. He's almost at his destination, but his legs just don't want to work anymore, and the time fall has begun again, and it's time to make a run for it. Because if he gets pulled down into the muck by these BTs, he will have no choice but to shout, "Oh, Lordy!"